This is Joseph Coco. I'm at MoCCA Fest 2014 on behalf of Becca Hilburn's Art Process blog, Keep On Truckin' Natto Soup. And if you could introduce yourselves, please.
Yeah, I'm Autumn, Crossman-Serb. And I'm Eileen, McLain.
Okay, and what brings you two gals to MoCCA Fest this year?
Very excited because Autumn is down here from Winnipeg, Canada to visit us for MoCCA Fest specifically.
Oh, that's great.
Crowdfunded my way here. Yeah.
So is this your first time at MoCCA Fest?
This is my first time in the U.S.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Was it difficult hauling all your books and table setup to the United States?
I just brought my box of comics, and every custom day they're like, "What's in the box?" And I was like, "Slow down, Brad Pitt. I'll tell you. Like, it's okay. I got this. It's just comics."
Considering you're coming from out of the country, did you find it was easier to just purchase table setup things in the United States rather than lugging things along with you?
I was very lucky. I didn't have to bring very much stuff for table setup.
Okay.
Eileen lives here, so she had a lot of table setup, and our
that's
friends
great.
were also sharing our stores. She has a lot of she's a con pro. She has everything. So we're using this for her setup. We teamed with Emma T. Caps, and this is her fourth or fifth year here, so she's very experienced setting up for MoCCA.
Oh, that's
So
great.
that helps out a lot.
Yeah,
We're interviewing, so this is Emma.
Wait, why didn't I get more than
I'm sorry, you were talking.
Oh, okay. What should I talk about?
Well, we just interviewed.
Okay.
No, I see where that's going.
This is Suzanne, webcomic artist, and she has to go now.
Yeah, sorry.
Bye, Suzanne. So can you tell us a little bit about your work? I know we were discussing your comic Colorblind a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, it's
This one's the art book.
yeah, it's an art book. What led you to produce a full color art book? Is that something you did for this convention, or
It's actually something I was working on just for fun. I was unemployed for a while, and I needed a little bit of extra cash, and all I had really to do was I had a lot of time to do art, so I made a couple zines and I sold them on Gumroad, and it was just digital copies. And then I decided that for MoCCA, I'd really like to, make an actual physical copy to sell, and I think it turned out really good. Like the colors are good, that's a good little size, just a fun little art book, and I was really excited that it turned out good.
Definitely. Yeah, certainly. Can we talk about some of your work?
Okay. Yeah, so this is what I brought to MoCCA. It's transit fashion. It is a art book of New York City street style fashion, and it's all based on actual people that I saw on the subways in New York.
Okay.
And I wanted to do an art book
So
that would
were
actually...
you working from photos, or were you drawing people
I
as
was sketching
they were?
people on the subway and making notes about what they were wearing and then finishing it at home.
That's
Oh,
always
great.
expected and
And what I really wanted was
comic I
so
did
much
about
fashion
my
illustration is
going on a plane by myself
just sort of
the first
clothes
time.
hanger models,
And of course,
and
everything
I wanted to do
went
something
wrong.
that was as much about the people
that's
wearing the
wrong.
clothes as the clothes. So that was
Right.
sort of my motivation, and I actually crowdfunded a little
Is this
bit
your first
too.
time
I
in
did this
MoCCA?
book through Kickstarter to fund my print
It's
run, and then I
amazing.
brought my copies
It'll be
here as well.
overwhelming.
Okay.
The country for
And what inspired that? Were you just sketching people on your commute because?
fashion in New York because it's so colorful and exciting, and I've always sketched people on the subway
Yeah,
just to
there's so
practice
much-
my figure
there's a lot of
drawing,
comments
and
here.
I realized why don't I just combine those two things and do a book. It's nice coming down here.
Do you have a background in fashion, or it's just something that you were interested in? And
I've done a lot of, I used to cosplay and I used to make costumes a lot and make some of my own clothes. And
Yeah.
I do have a little bit of a fashion background. I also did some fashion photography work while I was in college as well. So I finally brought it over to doing illustration and art as well. Yeah.
that's great.
For me to talk now?
Sure. Can you tell us about your comics a little bit?
So this is my autobiographical mini comic The Least Expected, about the first time I went on a plane by myself without my parents, which was last year when I was 16.
Okay.
17 now. And this is my webcomic, The Chopper Chronicles, which I started at age 14, and I've been doing weekly ever since. And this is actually a 200-page book. Yeah. So, Dark Horse Presents approached me in about fall 2011 and asked me to do a comic for them. I was very shocked because I was 14 at this point in time.
Oh, wow.
And was not very established. They had found me at some sort of convention, and at first I thought it was a spam email. I don't know what this is. I'm going to delete it because it wasn't from Dark Horse. It was just from some random email and I was so excited. So I did a comic for them that was published in July 2013, in the 25th anniversary issue, actually, which is very exciting. And I was so excited to be part of Dark Horse, and I got a lot of good press for my comic. And they've actually given me the exclusive rights to reprint it in this book, which I'm so grateful for, because I didn't expect that they would do that. And so many people who couldn't go to a shop to get the issue are now able to read it in the book. And it was
So it was a limited print edition, essentially, the first time, but now it's in a
Dark Horse
long
presents number
format.
25. The Dark Horse books won't be out very long. I think you can still get them online, but most comic shops only carry the most recent one.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that I was able to reprint it in my book, and they gave me the rights so that I can show it to other people who read my comic but maybe didn't get to go to a comic store, didn't have one in their area, somehow could not access Dark Horse. And I'm really proud of the work that I did for them, and I'm glad that I'm able to show it to more people. And they've actually invited me back for another contribution. I'm not sure when it will be published, but I'm very excited about that. It'll be longer this time. I don't want to give too much away. But
Okay,
it's already
yeah, that's
finished.
fine. No, that's a fascinating story. So did they know that you were 14 at the time?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
And I think some people in the community were a little bit surprised, because Dark Horse usually only takes people
Established
who are
artists,
adults
essentially.
over
Yeah,
18, able to buy alcohol at the minimum, or drive. I couldn't drive at that time.
Right.
And more established. And I think people were initially surprised, but then realized it was a really cool thing that they were doing to support young artists. And I'm so grateful that they supported me in that, because I know that they kind of took a risk on me, and I worked really hard to show them that, yeah, I could easily do this, and I think they really appreciated that. And I think it hopefully inspired some kid who was with me in a comic store and found it. It didn't say anywhere in the issue what my age was, but I'm sure
Right.
someone could have looked me up and seen it. And I'm really happy that they simultaneously were supporting people my age, but not making a big deal out of it. They weren't using it as the only selling
Yeah.
point, letting my work speak for itself, but also just supporting young artists, I think, is so important.
Right, it wasn't just a shtick. They weren't saying, oh, look at what this 14-year-old produced. It was just, oh, look at this great work.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
They
wonderful.
wouldn't say, oh yes, we have another comic from 53-year-old regular contributor. You wouldn't list everyone's ages. So I'm glad they didn't single
Exactly.
me out, but at the same time, I'm glad people were appreciative of, oh yeah, 14-year-old ages. So I think it's really amazing that they included me, and I'm so grateful that not only did they include me, but they let me reprint the comic and let more people see it and have it in my own book.
Right, and you actually already had the story in mind, or how much of the work?
They had me do 4 different story ideas for them, and they picked
Okay.
one of them. I didn't have the story in mind. It was only a 1-page comic, and it was featuring the characters from my comic, The Chapel Chronicles. So the story itself, since it was not too long, I gave them various ideas, and they picked it. It didn't require too much editorial feedback on that. The one that I've done for them recently, which is longer, did have more of the story writing process in it. And I didn't have an idea in mind ahead of time. Once they gave me the assignment, then I went brainstormed and emailed it to them as the first stage. Because everything at Dark Horse is done in stages. You do the thumbnail, you do the idea, then you do pencils, and it's vetoed at every single stage. Which can make the process quite long as you're waiting to get your critiques back, but it's still a great experience. And they really
And you're getting that feedback, so they're not going to be surprised at the end with what you've produced.
They really give you the opportunity to make changes, and they critique your work as well. And actually, the most recent one, the last few stages of process, they didn't have any changes for me. I had done a good job with my changes and clear stages. They just said, yeah, this is great, we don't have anything to say. We ship it. And I was just,
That's
oh,
wonderful.
okay, great.
I would ask you what the editor's name was, but I'm afraid he or she would get bombarded with emails. So.
Yeah, they don't take unsolicited submissions.
Yeah, of course.
You can't email them, but I was so happy they approached me.
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit about how you started coming to MoCCA Fest? You mentioned it's been 4 years now?
This is my 4th time. I came here first when I was in 8th grade. I had done the first volume of my comic.
Did you come as part of a school, or you just came as an individual?
I read about it online, and I decided I wanted to come, so I researched it, decided how much it would cost, all these various things, pitched it to my parents, who are a lawyer. People always ask if they're artists, and no, they're a lawyer and an engineer. And so they didn't know anything about this comics world. My mom, I said, you researched it, because that's the kind of person she is.
Yeah.
But they said, oh, okay, I guess you looked into this, so sure, you can do it. So I did it for the first year, and I've done it every year since then, and it's so much fun. It's a wonderful community, and I'm so grateful that I get to come.
Okay. And would you have any advice for a younger person who's considering coming and tabling at MoCCA Fest? I mean, obviously it's expensive, so.
Well, there's a student discount, which is very helpful.
Yes.
Getting a half table or splitting a table. I'm splitting a table with 2 of my friends, which means that it's greatly less expensive.
Right.
It's not too bad. if you do that sort of situation. And it's actually much better for a young cartoonist who might not have that much work. If they split a table, they maybe have only 1 or 2 feet. But it's much better to have a small area that's totally filled with work than to get a large area that only has a little bit. And then slowly can get more fans, be able to afford a larger table, and then also have the work to fill that space. But I would say definitely go for it. I hear a lot of people are intimidated by MoCCA because there's well-known creators that come here. Don't be intimidated. It's such a lovely community and so welcoming and inclusive. And everyone, no matter how many followers online they have or what have you, are so nice to everyone else. That it's a great community. And there's really nothing to be afraid of. I was very nervous the first time I came, and I'm so glad I did because now I've made connections in the community over 4 years, and it's a wonderful place.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who come to MoCCA Fest and table every year, so getting to know the people can certainly help with.
Most of the people who come will come every year. And so that's great because you see them every year, and sometimes it's people you won't see for the rest of the year. So it's basically like a big party.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic.
So I did want to ask, do you have trouble with, if you're sitting behind a table with other artists, do you have trouble with people assuming that you're an artist assistant because you are young?
No, not really. I think sometimes people are confused and say, wait, so did you make this or did someone else? But usually not. I think it's because I'm quite articulate and I sort of talk about things in a way that shows that I know about them.
Yeah.
People won't really assume that I haven't done it because I'll start saying, I'll say, this is my comic. Yay.
This is how I did this. So
any concerns that someone might have had or if they're confused usually disappear quite quickly once I start talking to them, as I'm prone to do for many authors.
Okay. Is there anything else you wanted to promote? What other conventions are you going to be going to?
I'm not really doing any other conventions this year. I've been to 8 in San Francisco before.
Oh, that's great.
But I don't think I'm going this year. It's not as good as Mocha in my opinion. But I do have a new mini comic Late Expected, which is not chapter related. It's autobiographical, and that is going to be a series, part of a series of short mini comics all themed around travel. This is the first one, and I should have more next Mocha in the spring.
Okay, and where could we find your work?
Chapelchronicles.com.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
And I'm sorry, was it Autumn? Eileen. Okay, I'm sorry. Eileen, where could we find your work? Where could we find your work?
EileenMcLain.com.
Okay. And is there anything else you wanted to talk about? We discussed your work briefly.
Cut off last time. Because of how well this has gone this year with the 3 of us tabling together, we are going to be forming a comic collective of women artists, and we will be back at MoCCA next year, hopefully with 2 tables and to be able to spread out and bring more people in. So it'll be online at some point. It'll be on my website whenever that happens.
Are you looking at essentially forming a small press or something more like a webcomic collective?
Forming a small press of sorts. We won't be requiring people to be only on our press label. People will be perfectly welcome to do their own thing as well. But we will be doing some collaborative projects and we will be showing together.
Okay.
It's to support each other as much as anything else.
Right, and we'd be able to find links to that on your website?
Once we get that started, we are talking about the name and coming to that discussion right now since we just started this weekend. But my website will link it once that's up and running. So hopefully in the next month or so that'll be up.
Alright, that sounds good. Thanks. And unfortunately Autumn is making a sale.
Yes.
So do you know where we could find Autumn's work?
You've been here before, right?
I worked here last year.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And how do you spell that?
AKITRON.tumblr.com, and that's her art blog and all of her stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
That's my Twitter name and my Instagram name.
So good. Okay, I'm glad I wasn't wrong.
Okay. And is there anything else you wanted to add before?
What have you been up to?
No, I think what were the questions? I was really.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was mostly just talking about your experiences at MoCCA Fest. This is your first year coming, obviously.
It was really good.
Yeah, and do you think it's worth it to come down from Canada to make it to MoCCA Fest?
I actually crowdfunded my way here, so in that way I wasn't paying out of pocket.
Right.
I think now that I've had this experience, I'm going to try putting away my savings account like for next year specifically. I don't have to, I can stay with her, so I don't have to pay for a hotel. So
Right.
yeah.
So how did you go about crowdfunding your trip here? Did you start an Indiegogo campaign or you just use social networks?
Kickstarter doesn't work in Canada.
Right.
I found out. But yeah, I started Indiegogo and my basically I was offering the comics I was doing and personalized thank you notes because I'm very pro. I was like, I can do
great.
this for you guys, and actually, I cried a little bit because people funded me. Just a little.
Yeah. Well,
did the thing.
yeah, it's great. I'm so glad you can make it to MoCCA Fest. It's been a joy talking to you all.
Yeah, thank you. I've been
All right.
really happy.
I hope you all have a good MoCCA Fest.
Yeah, you too.